Life and death. How Erling Haaland became even better at Manchester City. Striker Erling Haaland is in the best form of his life, and a number of changes in the last year have helped that. There is a deep irony in Erling Haaland's route to happiness. The Manchester City striker has searched the earth to reach perfection in his bid to make good on his generational talent, immersing himself in the science of biohacking to gain as many advantages as he can. He has incorporated raw milk and liver into his diet, used special glasses and tape over his mouth in evenings. Yet one of the biggest things that has inspired his ridiculous run of form this season is something that he shares with about 3 in every 4 UK men, being a dad. "I've never felt better than I do now," he said at Brentford after scoring his 18th goal of the campaign for club and country in his 11th game. "I think it's about preparation first of all, getting ready for the games. You can be physically ready, but you need to be mentally ready as well. And to be honest, I think with a kid, it makes me even better because I actually disconnect more than ever. I don't think of football at all, which sometimes when you're younger, you think of this and that, and maybe worry a little bit about things. But when I go home, I relax even more. So I think I need to give a shout out to my son. Many will know all too well what Haaland means when he talks about his child leaving him too short of time to think about anything else at home. But it is curious nonetheless for someone as intrigued in performance as the Norwegian, is that something that has been around since Adam and Eve can have as big an impact as the latest advancements that science and technology can offer. Haaland's son is not the only reason for his form, but it contributes to a life that is wholly more settled now than it was last season when he underperformed with a mere 31 goals for City. Such an assessment of last year may still seem harsh, but it has to be for the talent Haaland has. And the fact he already has 12 goals for his club this season reflects that. Haaland loves being a dad and is even more settled with his partner Isabel in a leafier part of Greater Manchester than the city centre apartment that they first lived in after he signed for the club in 2022. They are happier there for this stage of their life, and while becoming parents changes things forever, it brings stability as well as happiness after the worries that can come with pregnancy. If birth is a life-changing event, so too is death. Haaland went unashamedly deep in a recent interview with Norwegian broadcaster NRK when he covered a subject that doesn't tend to come up in a flash interview after a game. "I'm actually a bit afraid of death because I don't know what happens," he said. "It's a little scary when you lie alone in bed before falling asleep and think, what will happen on the day I die? Will you go to heaven? Will you go to hell? Where will you go?" Haaland has had to think about death over the last year because he has grieved for a close friend. Ivar Egger, his dad's best friend, and one of few people trusted to be a member of the footballer's inner circle, passed away last September at the age of 59. Nobody knows how a 24-year-old will be impacted by the loss of somebody who was like an uncle to him, but those close to him suggest it did take a toll on even someone as mentally strong as Haaland. As he was trying to hold City together last season, he was also working through a lot of things in his personal life that he had no control over. Being more settled off the pitch has brought about the best version of Haaland that he or anyone else have seen. He is in a happier place to be able to bring motivation for club and country. When that energy drops, a friendly shove from Brentford defender Sepp van der Berg can quickly raise his spirits. As the number 9 feels better than ever, he is also more visible than ever after moving to a more private part of town. Regular updates on his Snapchat account in recent weeks have everything from threatening messages from fans of rival clubs to breaking Ryan Cherki's return to the squad and taking the mick out of teammates and himself. John Stones issues timely reminder amid England and Manchester City. Hope Manchester City defender John Stones has been an England mainstay throughout the last decade, was crucial to Gareth Southgate's side, and is still the best option for Thomas Tuchel ahead of the World Cup. John Stones will have more difficult nights than the one he had against Wales, which is the precise reason Thomas Tuchel has to make sure Stones is leading England's defence when these occasions do come along. Which they will next summer, when England head to the World Cup and are expected to reach the latter stages. A place Stones has found himself in numerous times before. The Manchester City defender was part of the England side, which reached the World Cup semi-finals in Russia in 2018. He was an ever-present from start to finish. Just like he was in 2020, when he started all 7 games, with England conceding just 2 goals before losing the Euros final to Italy. And guess what? Stones was also ever present in England's run to the final of Euro 2024, which also ended in defeat, this time to Spain in Berlin. Stones was invaluable to Gareth Southgate in terms of what he achieved during his time as England manager. Down the years, Stones has been described as a Rolls-Royce of a defender. Yet some cruel injuries have reduced him to resembling a Robin Reliant at times. But Stones has always returned to the highest level to remind people what England miss when he's not around. Like his class on the ball, ability to read and anticipate what is going on around him, and lead from the front, even though he operates at the back. More injuries have disrupted Stones' start to the new season, which means he has started just 5 games for Pep Guardiola so far. But it is a measure of how much value he still has to New England manager Tuchel that the German picked him in his latest squad. Because Tuchel knows Stones has the one thing the likes of Mark Guehi, Ezri Konsa and Jed Spence don't have as much of: big game experience. A quality he hopes will see the presence of Stones benefit those around him. For when the going gets tough, which it will. Stones revealed last week he almost quit football last season after missing 30 games across all competitions. And all those who support England should be grateful that he chose not to. Because if the 3 Lions are to stand a genuine chance of winning the World Cup, it won't happen unless Stones is part of it. Manchester City player ratings with 5 8 out of 10s as Donnarumma and Kusanov drive change Manchester City player ratings for the season so far, including a perfect score for Erling Haaland after a terrific start to the campaign. Things are on the up at Manchester City. 7 games unbeaten in all competitions since the last international break has changed the mood at the Etihad and started to convince supporters that this can be a successful season. Pep Guardiola still has work to do to knit together a squad that contains so many new players, but will also relish the extra competition that will be provided by stars returning from injury. The Blues have tired across games, and that should help put an end to that if there are more options from the bench. Premier League games away to Aston Villa and at home to Liverpool will test City over the next month, as well as Champions League nights against Villarreal and Dortmund, but expectations are rising. Here are how the players have rated so far for their efforts. Gianluigi Donnarumma. His deadline day signing has had a transformative effect on the defence akin to Ruben Dias in 2020, instantly making them feel more solid in a game where City increasingly face aerial bombardment from set pieces. Could have done better for the last-minute goal at Arsenal, but his performance there showed why City were willing to brutally move Ederson and James Trafford out of the way James Trafford. It does feel particularly harsh on Trafford that his only game since Brighton away has been a League Cup game at Huddersfield. He has performed very well in 2 out of 3 league games, but doesn't know where his next start in the competition will come from. 7 Rico Lewis has almost disappeared to the extent that Trafford has after playing so well at Wolves on the opening day. His last league start came at home to Tottenham, and Matheus Nunes, Abdelkader Kusanov and John Stones have all been preferred at right back since. 5 Matheus Nunes. His good can be very good, but his mistakes are still a concern, with the potential for 1 bad minutes out of 45 to completely spoil a half or a game for the team. Scored a good goal against Burnley, and it counts for something that he is keeping Lewis out. 6 Abdelkader Kusanov 2.5 games completed, 0 goals against. Kusanov was a surprise pick at right back for the derby, but looked brilliant against United, Napoli and Arsenal before injury got him at the Emirates. An excellent start though, and a player Guardiola will be looking forward to welcoming back. 8 John Stones. He hasn't started a league game since Brighton, but thankfully has only missed 2 games through injury. City look a better team with him in it, although there is stiff competition at centre-back again. 6 Ruben Dias. Dias has taken his time to settle this season, but looks to have enjoyed Donnarumma's arrival, and also appeared to be nearing his best form in the 1-0 shutout against Brentford. Having him regularly fit again is a big plus. 7 Josko Gvardiol. Injury ruled him out for the beginning of the campaign, but he has soon settled into the centre-back role that he enjoys so much. 2 assists for Erling Haaland in the last 2 games show he is still finding a way to influence the opposition box. 7 Nico O'Reilly, like Kusanov, plunged into the team for the derby, and he hasn't looked back. O'Reilly has gone further, making 7 excellent starts that have contributed significantly to City's good run of form and also earned him an England call. 8 Pep Guardiola faces awkward Manchester City decision as 3 key players could be dropped. Manchester City are set to find their injury issues easing after the international break, but it could present Pep Guardiola a selection problem. Squad size has been a recurring topic of debate inside Manchester City over recent months. After accepting he needed more players after an injury crisis derailed last season, Pep Guardiola cooled on the idea a little during the summer. The argument last season was that a schedule that demanded more from players than ever before made Guardiola's usual desire for a squad light on numbers an unnecessary risk. But then came the transfer window, and as the squad's size increased, Guardiola expressed concern at having to tell players they were being left out. That has always been his primary concern with having a group he considers to be too big. In the end, City probably struck a happy medium, and it hasn't caused any issues so far, but with a clean bill of health for the squad potentially in sight, Guardiola might have some of those tough decisions to make sooner rather than later. City currently have 21 first-team squad members fit and available for selection, including third-choice goalkeeper Marcus Bettinelli and midfielder Calvin Phillips, with 4 more unavailable. That quartet are Abdoukodir Kusanov, Ryan Ait-Nouri, Rodri and Omar Marmoush,